Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Think you know what way it's going to go? Make your bet at Sports Interaction. Whether it's hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Oilers lose 5-4 yet again in another shootout. How's it going, Oilers fans? I'm not very happy. I'm Zach. That's Dennis. Yet again, the Oilers play. It's a tale of two teams. They always do this. Whether they start really slow and pick it up at the end, whether they start really strong like this game and, fall off a cliff halfway through the game. There hasn't been a 60-minute effort since before the All-Star break. That, yet again, the same storyline tonight, just a little bit different time. We're going to get into all the storylines of the game. It was a crazy game. There's a million things to talk about. We have not a ton of time. So, let's just jump right into it. Dennis, what were your thoughts on tonight? What did you think of right off the bat? You find out in warm-up, Klim Kostin's not going and we're playing short of forward.
Yeah, this is what we thought, right? When you're going into today, it's supposed to be a big day. I mean, Bob Stauffer, Oilers now, he teased everyone in Oilers Nation by saying, hey, expect some big news. Roster moves are going to happen. There's no one going down on the waivers. This is it. Like, hey, it's trade time.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It's Holloway and Vinny Desharnais going down. And like it makes sense. This is the safest thing to do.
Well,
but at
no.
The same time,
the safest thing is to waive Janmark.
Yeah, like honestly though, let's not fault the man. Like Janmark looked out pretty strong tonight.
Janmark played this. Okay, I will say on that line with Fogle and McLeod, Janmark had a ton of good opportunities. That was driven primarily to me, in my opinion, by Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod's play. Warren Fogle to a lesser extent, although the guy couldn't hit an open net. I don't even know. I can't even think of an analogy right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. He
took the classic broadside of the barn.
Yeah. The other thing, so the Oilers went 2 for 4 in the power play, whatever. One of them was in overtime. And we kind of expect that from them. The penalty kill, yet again, is another story of this game where the Rangers go 2 for 4
bad this year.
Well, it was on a really good stretch, and when they put Desharnais in, all of a sudden, last game, Desharnais misses the game. Detroit goes off on the power play. This game, again, you could feel just way too easy. The very first power play goal the Rangers scored was tic-tac-toe. There was no contest, no forward in the lane. I don't know what was going on in that penalty kill, right? There was no pressure whatsoever from any of the forwards, any of the defensemen. Desharnais is missed there, and that's the thing. When Holland made the decision to send those two down in order to save Jesse Puljujarvi to use him in a trade however he plans on using him, because clearly he doesn't want to lose him for nothing and he feels there's value there, and he has to have some indication that there is value there for him to be willing to put the team through this. But he made the team worse today. Now,
absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, right? We are not in the room, but we know from multiple sources of guys that are at the arena, there's a flu bug going around the Oilers right now. And Vinny Desharnais is one of the guys that has been hit by it, right? Klim Kostin, game time decision. Again, one of those things where, hey, you suddenly got really sick with the flu. You don't feel like playing, or even if you are on the ice, you're probably going to be a deficit to the team. I get that. But this is the risk of doing this sort of move when you're only having 20 guys and you just have no one else to go back to.
And they knew the flu was going around. Like Skinner has it right now. He wasn't on the bench for a large portion of the game. Like you said, Desharnais had it, Clausen has it. You know it's what's going on. They made the decision
Dry
anyways.
has it for sure.
I don't know if Dry has it. Like, what the fuck was that in the shootout?
Injured,
Every
sick,
time he does the same stupid ass slap. Like, what did he expect to happen? Genuinely.
I almost expect it to be a message. It's a message to the NHL saying, hey, get rid of the shootout. No one cares about the shootout.
So they're just actively throwing games?
Just fucking throwing it. Like, at least Draisaitl, I feel like you have to see what he's doing every time he's out there. He's what, over 5 now in the shootout this year.
Yeah.
When traditionally he has a very good record.
But I've seen him do that slap shot before, and I could not tell you one time where that slap shots were. Maybe in 16, 17 when McDavid was out and it was the Taylor Hall Draisaitl show. I vaguely remember maybe one time it working. But beyond that, no fucking way. There's something wrong with him. Like, numerous times. They're on an odd man rush, and they're in the offensive zone, and these passes, we used to call him the best backhand passer in the league, the best passer. Whether it's to Kane or whether it's to the low man, the fourth man coming on the odd man rush. It's constantly picked off now and just leads to a chance against. He's playing so sloppy. There's giveaways from behind the net when he goes to play down low and has the responsibility as the center. He's just giving it away, whether it's up the boards to the Rangers defenseman on the point, on the blue line. Like, they're just constant bad play from Leon. I don't know what it is, but and I want to let him off the hook because obviously he deserves the benefit of the doubt, but it's now 6 games in a row of significantly below average play from Leon Draisaitl. And the way this team works is if Draisaitl isn't going at full strength, then they're going to have a really tough time winning games. Like, they've lost now a bunch of games. They've lost 3 games coming out of the All-Star break. Now, they've lost them all in the overtime, and I believe 3 of them in the shootout, which is ridiculous.
I mean, and it's weird too, right? Like, because you see, it's supposed to be the McDavid and Draisaitl show all night, every night. And you get occasionally one-offs where it's, oh, you know what? They were held off the score sheet. You don't get a point. They're coming back with a vengeance next game. It doesn't seem like that anymore. You know what? Especially Draisaitl. Of course, he did have that power play goal tonight, which was vintage.
It was a great goal.
It was a great goal. Is again like another vintage Draisaitl goal off of that one-timer.
Yeah.
Like, it's just at the same time though, not the Draisaitl that we're used to seeing.
No, this entire year,
Yeah.
it hasn't been the Draisaitl of old. And we talked about this last show, so let's not jump too deep into it. But what I wanted to say before we continue on, there's 53 people watching right now. I see Wise Kyle, I see Mick Nader, I see Jay Money, I see all the regulars. I even saw Kaya up there in chat. Clearly, she was cheering for the Rangers tonight.
We got some Ranger fans in here, man.
Yeah. So if you guys want to go ahead, hit the like button. Congrats on the win. I mean, the Oilers blew it more they blew that game hardcore more than the Rangers won it. But to be fair, the Oilers have had a number of comebacks against the Rangers. They have multiple goal comebacks in their last couple games. So
what happened to the infamous Draisaitl? Oh wait, it's coming. Well, right? We didn't see that Draisaitl.
Yeah, I think we did because it came at the beginning and then they left it. Instead of giving the big blow up for all those goals at the end, it came in the first 10-15 minutes and Then that was it.
First period, amazing. And how many times have we come onto this show and said, slow starts. They fixed it now. And then we get these weird middle zones where last game, awful start. This game, amazing start.
Dude, you could feel at the end of the third period, they were bending so hard. And this is probably the first game where I could say, wow, I know Jack Campbell let in 4 goals, but oh my God, what a performance from Jack Campbell, right? You can't waste stuff like that. You cannot waste. He held them in by the skin of his teeth. When it was 4-3. When it was 4-3, he held them in as much as he could. And they come out in the third period, and I can't even remember who ties it. I was so frustrated. But,
I mean...
it was on the power play. It was on the power play. It was Lafreniere was the 4-3.
Lafreniere was the first one in the third period.
Yeah, that was 4-3.
Zibanejad
on the 5-on... It was the 5-on-3, right? Like, what are you going to do? That's some stuff that's just bad luck. Like, earlier in the third period, Mikkola smokes McDavid nowhere near the puck. That's not a penalty. And then
no one responded.
Yeah, I know.
No one responded to it. He laid out your captain.
Also, one of the other things, late in the third period, like you're running this roster that's short. Everyone's probably gassed. You're running here. Let's check I've got to check the ice time here. Like, how much did Connor McDavid play tonight? It felt like he was on the ice every 5 seconds.
David was on the ice for 23 minutes.
Yeah, so almost
23-35.
Yeah, almost 23. Same with Draisaitl, 23. Like
every highlight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Because you're looking at the same chart that I am. On a game when you're running short a forward, how does Jesse Puljujarvi have 8 minutes and 24 seconds of ice time?
Garbage.
Everyone else on the team is at minimum 12 minutes of ice to every other forward. Yeah, every other player on the team is at minimum 12, 29. Pugliarvi has 8 minutes. He's 4 minutes underneath that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
No
me?
kidding. Nurse played 27 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? You're going to sit here and tell me that we don't need Erik Karlsson? Watch some of these breakouts that the Oilers fucking had today. Unbelievable. Off the glass and out. Icing, unforced icing, off the glass and out. You have some of the most skilled players in the world, and you cannot get them the puck in transition. It's ridiculous. Like, Yamamoto's first game back, we made this whole big stink to get him back in the lineup. And, like, he had one post where the puck kind of bounced to him right in the first period. He hit it off the post. We're exactly where we were with him 2 months ago. Nothing's changed. The guy's still snake bit to shit. Not really effective. He's a complimentary player at best. Kind of ideally a third or fourth liner, to be honest. He hasn't played any better than that. Derek Ryan has been significantly more effective than Kyler Yamamoto has this season.
Excuse you, noted goal scorer Derek Ryan.
Oh my God, yeah.
Go by the full name.
Well, that's the thing. Jesse plays 8 minutes. I thought the Oilers' bottom six, this is probably one of the best games we've seen from them. Every time, whether it was the third line or the fourth line, I guess you're only dressing 10 forwards pretty much, was on the ice, they were consistently hemming the Rangers in the offensive zone. McLeod, Fogle, and Janmark, especially in the first period, I was convinced it was McDavid wearing McLeod's jersey. The pressure that they were putting on, the cycles that was art. That wasn't hockey. That was art. It was unbelievable what they were doing. The chances they were creating in front. But the problem is you have two guys with baseball bats in their hands and can't hit for shit. They can't score. They can't finish. They can't do anything. We made this whole. We're running a short roster to have these guys there, and Janmark is useless. It's like the hooking penalty you took to put the Rangers on the power play. You cannot do that in a 1-goal game with 10 minutes left in the third period. What is wrong with you, you idiot? Like, what are you thinking? Move your feet.
Skate right past him. Like, normally, if it's I can stomach most of the time penalties that are taken right in that danger zone, right in front of the slot, right next to your goalie. I can stomach those normally, but this is one where Janmark very clearly just let him right past, and he has to draw that cooking call because Louis was right on the commentary. That's right away. A one-timer opportunity, a little tap-in opportunity. You can't just let a guy skate right past you.
No. Well, even if let's take a look at the Oilers defensemen tonight. Like, this is a night because they're running a shorter roster than they usually do. Everyone's getting a lot of ice time. There's going to be harder matchups tonight. Philip Broberg and Evan Bouchard have been sheltered by Jay Woodcroft for the last 10 games or whatever. This is a game where they're going up not only unsheltered, or less sheltered, I should say. We still have last change and whatnot, but against a significantly better team than the Flyers and the Red Wings and the Canadians. It showed. There was a play where I think it was Zibanejad or Trocheck completely walked Philip Broberg. I thought there were plays, especially even in the first period, and it was continued throughout the game. There was strong stretches from that pair, but there were stretches where they would get hemmed in and they would get really panicky. And whether they would both come together, they would switch sides, they'd lose their man, they'd get out of position, they'd chase the puck behind the net, they'd start puck watching, and they were really lucky that Jack was on his game tonight. They could have easily been on the ice for a couple goals against, no problem, and they might have been, honestly. I'm not even sure. I was a little upset right now. Sorry, I've kind of been ignoring chat.
We're clearly, chat is bumping today.
Yeah,
but we're clearly upset because this is 2 games in a row now where the Oilers have not brought their A game, right? We've seen in the past, hey, you know what? Detroit, they're not necessarily a contender. I know they're getting close by the numbers. They're staying in that playoff race, but at the same time, they're a weaker team, quote unquote. So the Oilers tend to let up games like that. They tend to play to their opponent's pace. But the Rangers are a team that not only were they good before, they added. And they added in a big way.
Yeah.
So the Oilers, normally they would get up for games like this. This is when you see the physicality come up. This is when you see the scoring touches come up. This is when you see guys fired up to make a difference. And it seemed like, you're right, maybe they're gassed, but end of the day, they were just apathetic at the end.
At the end, yes, but when the game started, it looked like it was a very tentative start to the game. It was kind of a little choppy. There were some icings, whatever. Both teams are kind of trying to hang back defensively because these are such high octane offensive, right? But then, kind of 7 minutes in, Tarasenko had a really good chance. Bouchard took a really good shot, created some havoc in front of the net, and then it got going. All of a sudden, it was 1-0, right? Nugent-Hopkins scores from Hyman. You have McDavid get his 100th point of the season and his 101st point of the season. We had Leon Braun score, Derek Ryan score, everyone, or Tyson Barrie scored, right? Up in that trade value. Like, everyone was making an impact at the beginning. And then when the Rangers kind of woke up and had that pushback in momentum, well, to be honest with you, there were numerous times where the Oilers kind of gave them the moment. Like after 3-1, Darnell Nurse, like, what are you doing taking that stupid penalty on Tarasenko? You're hacking him down, like it's obviously going to get called. They just kept giving the momentum back, and then coming out in the second period, they kept their head above water for like 10 minutes, and then the Rangers just took over and kept taking it to them. And if it wasn't for Jack, the Rangers would have passed them in goals in the second period.
Again, like, Jack is not to blame for this loss. We've hit him many times this season. He's been the whipping boy.
Yeah.
He outdueled Shesterkin.
Oh, let's acknowledge, like, the save with his head on Hedl lying on the ice, and then 30 seconds later to come back with the huge glove save. I can't even remember who. Oh, it was on Jimmy Vesey. Like,
yeah, Jimmy Vesey.
Insane. I would yell, how the fuck did he keep that out? Because you just don't expect it. In the first period, he made an awesome pad save, and that's what got the momentum going. That was before any of the goals happened. That goes in, it's a completely different game, and they're dejected just for 60 minutes, right? You had a stretch of good play. I don't know if they were trying to sit back, they were trying to conserve energy, they were trying to play more defensive. Now, I don't know what they were trying to do, but it didn't, whatever it was, it didn't work. You need to you're going into play Colorado. You need to figure out a way to ice a full lineup. You got to go back to 11-7 because that's when you were most successful. For some reason, 12-6, you just don't have it. You don't have the defenseman that can handle these type of minutes. You need
12-6, 11-6. It's not working.
If you're running 12-6, you need someone who can also play another 25 minutes. You can't have one 25-minute guy and 5 13-minute guys, which is kind of what they have right now, right? They have a ton of guys who are really effective third pairing defensemen and Darnell Nurse. Is that a fair assessment? And
I think that's a fair assessment. And you know what I realized we never did, Zach?
What?
We never hit that light goal.
Yeah, I know.
So, hey, I'm going to throw a number out there. And there's no reasoning behind it at all. Let's do 65. We have 74 people.
74, damn.
74 watching us, well, 79 now, watching us rage in chat.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what? 65.
65.
Maybe that's a number that'll come into oil country sooner or later.
I love it.
All right. So there's your light goal for tonight, guys. Again, like, Zach, you said it all. Like, this Oilers team right now is one where they're waiting for a signal, right? It feels like they want something to happen. We know McDavid and Draisaitl, the leadership core, want a guy who can pass them the puck. And this team right now, if you watched especially later on in the game, they could not exit their zone. That's exactly what this team needs right now.
This is the game they probably would show Ken Holland. Like, they went to Ken Holland and specifically asked for a puck mover. They asked for Erik Karlsson. They played together the All-Star game. This is all orchestrated by these two masterminds. They want him. Ken Holland needs to do whatever you can to get him. This is the target. I understand if they get him, the Sharks would need to make him his salary about $7.5 million. You move out Barrie and Puljujärvi. You replace him with a guy who makes under $1 million, and you have Karlsson replacing Barrie. There you go. You just don't take anything else off your roster. All the other futures, I do not care. Send them out the door. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what?
It seems like because a trade broke up.
Well, yeah.
At 11 p.m. Eastern time, a trade broke out where we found that, hey, getting a big name guy, I mean, albeit it's a rental for Ryan O'Reilly, a big name rental, you don't have to give up a lot of assets, and you can get some retention from a team. Now, I know Karlsson's a different story.
Yes.
It's 4 years. It's a lot of money at 11.5, but at the same time, you want to see things happen, and I've harped on it again and again. This is a buyer's market right now. And it doesn't seem like Kenny Holland is picking up the phones and asking. Like, no one else is in the Karlsson debate. No one else is in any position to pick this guy up. So the fact that, like, I don't know what the hang up is.
Listen, there's negotiations, and hockey trades can take a long time to happen. There is 2 weeks today until the deadline, right? So I don't know. They have time to make a deal. The thing is, we've heard. I know some people have said that the Sharks will never go over 18 or 20%. But both Chris Johnson and Pierre LeBrun said the number of money retained is not the issue for the Sharks. If they get a good enough package, they get a package that they want, they'll make the deal. So now it's on Ken Holland to come up with that package and make the deal happen. He's the highest paid general manager in the league. Look at Kyle Dubas. Look what he did today for his team. They're in LTIR with just over $1 million in cap space, and they managed to bring in two really effective, proven playoff performers in Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari without taking anything off their roster. They had $1 million in cap space, and they were in LTIR. So don't let anyone tell you it was dollar in, dollar out, because Kyle Dubas took that dollar in, dollar out, and he shoved it up his ass. So
exactly. And you know what's even crazier? Mm-hmm. They got a prospect out of the Minnesota Wild. They paid a 4th round pick for them to retain half of a already retained Ryan O'Reilly. And then they got a prospect back out of it. Albeit I think he's from the AHL, WHL maybe even.
Yeah, WHL.
But, like, anything that you get back in that sort of deal is nice. And it's a 4th round pick. How many 4th round picks end up playing a single game in the NHL, right?
No, yeah. It's you never know. Maybe the guy didn't want to sign with Minnesota. I don't really know much about him, but I think they obviously got him, and it's a great deal. It was a great deal. Yeah, no, something I did want to say though, like in this game, one of the turning points to me though, just to talk a little bit more about the game. At the first couple shifts of the second period, the Oilers did come out really hard. McDavid started the second right away, end-to-end rush, put it in on Shesterkin, and we've seen that goal been going in all year, right? Shesterkin, after a really bad performance in the first, comes up huge on the first couple saves, right? The Oilers had a power play. They could have extended the lead. McDavid had a one-timer. Shesterkin slid across and stopped it, right? So there was just that push and pull. You have the shooting percentage for Connor falling a little bit back down to earth over these last 5 games. I believe, I don't even know if he has a goal in the last couple. So it's just one of those things, yes, and it really, really, really does suck the way that you lost. Because again, in that for the second, I understand. The third, absolutely no excuse. One shot, that's pathetic. Chicago would get more shots than that. Two. Excuse me. Absolutely pathetic.
Discounting it here.
No, that was a pathetic performance, and to me, this cannot continue. Like, I understand the situation that they're in. But Ken Holland needs to get his shit together. You cannot run a short roster again. The flu bug's going through. What if someone else catches it? What if these guys have it? You can't force someone to play. You need to figure your shit out. You need to make a move. You got to do it soon. Moves are happening sooner now. This is probably the first trade deadline I can remember that, 2-3 weeks out, we're seeing big names come off the board. First it was Horvat, then it was Tarasenko, then today it's Ryan O'Reilly, right? These aren't all deadline day deals. Now, if you're because everyone's in LTIR, no one's accruing cap space. It doesn't matter this year anymore. If you're going to make a package, you're going to capitalize. We have 2 guys already sitting out of the lineup. Chikrin, Gavrikov. They're most likely going to be traded before trade deadline day, right? The only two guys I could see going on trade deadline day for sure would be Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, right? Because they're just pushing their decision. And I have a sneaking suspicion, based on what everyone's been saying, Patrick Kane is going to end up as an Edmonton Oiler.
And you know what? If the package is right, this is the thing with negotiations, right? Whenever someone says that'll never get done, look, end of the day, if Patrick Kane has said, I'm not coming back, if you can convince him to just get, like, hey, spend a couple months in Canada, wherever it might be. Spend a couple months there. You get to go on a little bit of a playoff rush, and we'll get like a 4th or something for you. It's better than letting him walk, right?
Patrick Kane.
Okay, yeah. If you get like a 4th for him, I'm sure Chicago's just like, I'm done.
Well, so I don't think Chicago's getting anything good for Patrick Kane. I think Patrick Kane was thinking about the Rangers, then he was thinking about the Leafs, and then he was thinking about the Oilers. The Rangers and Leafs are off the board. The thing about Patrick Kane, the only way that I would do Patrick Kane, because Patrick Kane, yes, last year he was phenomenal. He was a really good player, 92 points. This year, he's had that hip injury that's been a problem. He has not looked like himself. We don't know what we're getting with Patrick Kane. And there are rumors that he wants to be an Oiler. I heard a rumor on a podcast that Duncan Keith has already offered him his house. That if Patrick Kane comes to live here, he's not sleeping in a hotel. He's sleeping at Duncan Keith's house. So I think there's a strong push for Patrick Kane. Now, let me tell you, the only package that I would do is a second-round pick, Warren Fogle, and a third-round pick to whatever team you get to retain the rest of his salary. Because Patrick Kane, 75% of his salary retained, exact same as what Ryan O'Reilly went to Minnesota today. That is 2.675. Warren Fogle makes 2.75. That is dollar in, dollar out, and you still have the other chips to get Erik Karlsson. Now, I know that's wishful thinking. That's a little NHL 23, but
I agree with you, but I don't think we need a second and a third. I think there's no other buyers because Patrick Kane has full control of where he's going. And the two other spots that he said he might be willing to go to are now out of the market for him. The only one left is Edmonton. And unless he wants to just chill in Chicago until his contract's over, leaving. Which I respect,
he's leaving.
That's it. That's the fleece. Ken Holland, pull it off.
And in chat, McNader makes a good point. Kane had 2 goals tonight, and I know people were saying earlier that he needs to have a good performance. So maybe he heard that. I'm sure he did, to be honest. And he's trying to show that he still's got it. And listen, Patrick Kane this season have I soured on his play? Absolutely. Have his defensive effort been we complain about Leon Draisaitl.
We would be complaining a lot about his defense, but you know what? That's something that we know going in, but right? We're prepared for that.
Listen, and I'm fine with Kane as the addition, but as a big addition. But to me, I still, but it needs to be one of Chychrun or Karlsson. That might sound ridiculous.
Not the big addition.
Kane,
Patrick Kane is your second edition.
It needs to be a defenseman.
Main one is a defenseman.
It needs to be a defenseman. That's where you need to make your big addition. If Patrick Kane is secondary and he forces his way to you and you're the only team he wants to go to and he makes it so Chicago retains, and then you just have to pay the third party and he can come in at 2.675 and you do the Fogle swap and you're just paying them to take on that extra year of Warren Fogle. I would also love to know who had scouts in the Oilers building tonight, because if they watched Warren Fogle play tonight, maybe that would have been a positive for us. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, no, I thank you, MGD, pointing out nice math, Zach. I've done this before. I've done this just a few times, this calculation, so it's just sitting there in the dome. But yeah, no, that's to me that's my thing about Patrick Kane. Clearly, this team, again, it's what we were saying a couple months ago. They need that boost. They need that kick in the teeth again. They come back from the All-Star break. Kane isn't 100%, I don't think, still. Draisaitl, we don't know what's wrong with him, but something is. Connor can't do everything. You have Darnell Nurse playing 27,000 minutes a game. You need to put stuff in the lineup. You're getting performances out of your goalies more often than not. You have the window. Toronto today saw the window. They seized it. What an astute move. If I'm their fans, I'm running naked down Bloor Street. It's unbelievable move.
Everyone's agreeing. Yeah, this was a great trade for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you know what? The Blues, they got a couple of good picks, right? They got the first, the second, the third. Who cares? But who cares? You're right. Toronto is much like Edmonton. They're in a position, perhaps they're in an even rougher position because Dubas doesn't have a contract past this year. So he's more desperate. But this is a great trade, and it doesn't seem like it was a desperate one. So it doesn't feel like a Chiarelli
he was planning
trade.
This, dude. This is Dubas had a goal. Dubas had a plan. Dubas stuck to the plan. He knew he was going all in. He was playing games with the media. It was a phenomenal play by Dubas. Absolutely. You know, one big addition that we have not talked about that maybe would be more impactful than any Erik Karlsson, than any Patrick Kane, would be to go and sign Kyle Turris out of retirement to come back and play in these damn shootouts, because this is fucking ridiculous.
Shootouts.
Yeah, listen, I'm happy with anything. Karlsson, Chychrun, Kane, Turris. Those are the only 4. So, because they've thrown away 3 points. And this is rolling of the dice. This is luck. The fact that, except for Leon's dumbass attempt, because I don't know what the fuck that was, but everything else in that is luck. Connor doesn't miss that all the time. Connor scores on penalty shots. Hyman scores on penalty shots. More often than not, if you have them not playing 1,000 minutes a game, you can win in overtime. There were mistakes, and you still had the chance to capitalize, but they were so gassed at the end. They're running a short roster. I think what Jay did tonight, not playing Puljujarvi over at least 12 minutes, is horrible. Just you're hurting your team. Did Jesse have one bad play that you can remember tonight?
Honestly, nothing egregious, right? Like there were some things where you wish he tucked that one past Shesterkin, for example, where it was just a wide open cage. But other than that, he didn't do anything horrible. He was physical tonight, got a couple of hits. I don't know why he was stapled to the bench.
Yeah, I thought he was playing really effective. I thought his stick was really good. He was disrupting the Rangers' breakouts. I thought he was making more of an impact than anyone else in terms of breaking up the Rangers' transition game. I thought he was really good. I noticed him. He had that chance in front of the net where he could have just, if he lifted it like another inch, it would have gone in over Shesterkin. It would have been 5-4 Oilers in regulation, right?
That's the one that I was saying, you know what? I don't fault him for that. That's one where he's been having some trouble finishing this whole season.
That was his whole career. Yeah.
His whole career, he's had this trouble finishing, and he's trying to mold his game and change it so that he at least has some spot, maybe as a bottom six guy. But 8 minutes when everyone else is absolutely gassed, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That defensive mindset, like you said, breaking up breakouts, using his stick to interrupt passes, that's stuff that he's had in the past.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's still doing it every now and then, I'm not surprised.
And you know what this says too, just kind of to build on that. Like in this game, according to Natural Stat Trick, the Oilers had 11 high danger chances to the Rangers 6. Like even though they screwed up, and as it went, and these are, I assume, more early on, like you can see. They had chances to win. They didn't put it away. This is, I think, more another one of those self-inflicted losses that are just so frustrating. The Detroit, it's whatever. This one hurts a lot more than that Detroit loss, I'll say.
I mean, look at expected goals, right? I know expected by who? 4.59 for the Oilers, 3.6 for the Rangers.
Yeah, and Campbell I thought he played fantastic. Maybe it was just the way he was sliding and he was out of position. He made the saves look more difficult. I don't really know. I'm not a goaltending expert, so it's tough for me to really talk on goaltending. And Black Mascara makes a point too. We had 2 posts, and even right before overtime started, Warren Fogle missed a wide open 4x6. Like, I don't know, man. They can score, they just can't defend. Like the video manifest for Big Eric. I've been manifesting Eric every second of the day for the last 3 weeks. Oh. We'll see. MGD in chat, or sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, MGD in chat said, I was also wondering your thoughts on Klingberg out of Anaheim. So I saw someone float that today, that maybe if the Oilers can't get Karlsson done, they'll reverse and pivot to Klingberg because they can get him for a lot cheaper. I hate that. I hate that with an absolute passion. He's dog shit. He's atrocious. We hate on Tyson Barrie. Just you wait till this guy gets in our lineup. There's a reason garbage defensively.
He tried. Klingberg tried to get that home run long-term.
Dallas offered it to him, and he declined it.
He declined it.
Like an idiot.
To go elsewhere.
Thought he could get more. Fired his agent. Ended up in Anaheim 1 year, $7 million. Like, it's good living, but he could have had 56 in Dallas. Yeah, and he's been absolutely horrible this year. He's tanked his trade value. That's not someone I want. Karlsson is such a good skater. Like, what I wanted to point out to everyone when we talk about Erik Karlsson, there was a play when the Oilers were playing San Jose. I believe it was the last game they had against San Jose, where McDavid had a partial break, and Erik Karlsson skating backwards, stayed with him, angled him off to the outside, and McDavid couldn't get a chance. And that's Connor McDavid. Only a few defensemen in the world can do that. Cale Makar is one. Erik Karlsson clearly is the other. Like, he's not bad defensively. He's not a Tyson Barrie, because Tyson Barrie skates like molasses. Tyson Barrie has that patented spin move that he can do out of trouble when he's matched up against, someone's fourth line and he's spinning off a Jake Lecision. But anyone higher than that in quality competition, Tyson Barrie's going to fall through the floor. Like, just like Bouchard and Broberg are sheltered, Barrie's also semi-sheltered, even though he has had probably his best defensive numbers as an Oiler. Like, he hasn't been bad, but you can just do so much better. Again, you have good players, but they're not the right players in the right roles. Like, if you're getting someone who pushes some of these guys out of the lineup, I think that's much better. Like, you look at Toronto, who cannot decide what defensemen to have in the lineup because they're all just succeeding and doing overwhelmingly well. We don't have that. If we end up having a Karlsson come in and we don't bring off someone off the roster, you bring in Karlsson and someone else. I don't know. Just for argument's sake. I want to push them down. That's the thing I'm trying to say.
Exactly. And here's the thing, right? We've been saying Karlsson is the greatest fit, but circling back, you're fine with Chychrun. Like, Chychrun's completely different. A different look, but it's still a fine acquisition.
Oh, totally.
It's when it's when you start getting into like some of the other names that you're like, okay, really?
No, there is no like they're not acceptable. The other names, I don't care if it's Susie, not Luke Shen, unless you're getting Luke Shen and someone else. Like,
and I was gonna say in chat, Susie, Dumba.
Susie's not coming to Edmonton. I know that was said earlier, but you got to think about it this way: Seattle's like a point or 2 points ahead of Edmonton in the standings. We're chasing them for a playoff spot. Why would they trade us, Carson Soucy, to help them? And if they don't feel that he's that, rival. if he's not that impactful on a team higher than us, that they're willing to get rid of him and miss the playoff chase, why do we want him? I don't understand. And Chychrun is younger. Chychrun's 24. He's got term. He's way cheaper than Carlson. It'd be a way easier deal to do. I absolutely agree. Chychrun was my guy until I found out Erik Karlsson was available. But, like, nevertheless, like, I don't care which one. But it's such an obvious hole. That, to me, is where the hole is. I don't like Shane Gossesbear either. His numbers away from Jake Chychrun are horseshit this year.
Again,
he was a salary dump to Arizona. Yeah. Like, they paid Arizona to take him.
That's a situation where, look, these other names, Ghost Bear, like all these other guys, if you can't swing big, you miss on the big hitters, then you go look at the other names, just get someone who's a little bit more depth.
The miss is not acceptable.
But the miss isn't acceptable because they're still out there.
Yeah.
And no one else wants to sign these guys. Okay, Chychrun, there's market for him.
I don't know what's going on with Chychrun.
Yeah, it's unacceptable to not try, right? And at this point, it still seems like Ken Holland is like, hey, we don't want to give away.
Sorry.
We don't want to give away Puljujarvi for nothing. Well, we don't want to just have random assets leave. Who cares?
No, so, right? Yes. Sorry. And I'm trying.
Picks. Who cares?
Exactly. So this is one of the things. Ken Holland's patience has shown to pay off in the past. You know, waiting out Jesse Puljujarvi, waiting out a number of times when he could have made a deal, even though sometimes I believe that he still should have made a deal and he didn't, and his patience showed and they were okay in the end, right? This is a situation where his patience bit them in the ass, right? He was patient, kicked the can down the road, and now tonight they played short a skater, right? This is a Ken Holland move. This was his decision. You knew the risk going in, and he made the choice anyways, and they end up losing the game. They're gassed, and I think that is a big reason as to why they lost. So you need to sit there tomorrow. You need to reevaluate, and you need to make a roster move because you cannot go into a game against Colorado again short a skater, right?
You think Ken Holland's going to be working the phones on a Saturday?
I fucking hope so, but I have no faith.
Hey, you wanna end the show on a little bit of a lighter note here?
Sure.
Hey, so McDavid obviously got his 100th point tonight. Same time, another generational talent, Bedard, got his 100th point tonight as well. Did it in 40 games. So you know what? It's all shaping up to be just the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. Absolute legend. We'll hope that he goes to Vancouver because I see Kaya in chat. Hopefully it not, happens for you.
Sure.
Hopefully not for us as Oilers fans, but for you, I know you've been suffering. So you know what? It's nice to see two generational talents get in that century marker on the same night.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one more thing in chat. I see Riza is awesome. It says, why not give up JP for Kravtsov? I don't know if the New York Rangers would do that deal. And if I'm at the point now where Jesse Puljujarvi, his biggest benefit in a trade is being used as salary in a larger deal, right? I'm using him in the Karlsson deal, in the Chychrun deal, whatever it is. I'm using him in that. I'm not.
Or flip him to get a tiny asset that you use to give to a team so they'll retain a little.
Or you put him on waivers and Arizona claims him or Carolina claims him and you call it a day. But yeah, we've been going. It was definitely a frustrating night. We're not going to run for an hour again. We'll cut it off here. Thank you guys.
I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's amazing to have this sort of reception. We were up to 80 viewers live at one point. I just wanted to thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
Zach?
Go ahead. Oh, just guys, if you're still watching, you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button one more time. I want to say thanks for Kaya for being here for the entire show. Really appreciate it. Wise, Kyle, McNader, Hater McDader, Loomsis, Riza, all the regulars. There were clearly a bunch of Rangers fans in here too. Black Massacre from Germany, obviously. Loomsis, thank you for coming back. It's awesome to see all your guys' names pop up in chat. I wish I could have read more. I was a little frustrated with the effort we got, later on in the game.
We're heated.
But Avery will have the game against Colorado, and then next week, Dennis and I will be back early. I think they're playing Philly, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure.
Philly on Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. So Dennis and I will be back on Tuesday. Avery's got the game Sunday. Let's hope the Oilers pick it back up. Thank God they got a point tonight. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of your night. Take care. We will see you in a bit.
Have a good weekend.